Hi everyone, it's Walter here from Unique Cruises, and I'm very excited today that we have Birgit from A-ROSA River Cruises that's joined me. A-ROSA is a new, well, relatively new addition to our suite of products, and my gosh, it has taken off so well. I'm so excited to be able to work with you, Birgit, and welcome.
Thank you, Walter.
So, Birgit, what we're going to do is we'll go through and if you could just explain a little bit about A-ROSA. Obviously, in Australia, it's not as well known as some of the other companies that, well, some of the ones I've worked for in the past even. But I know from seeing the ships up in Europe and also all the work that we've done together over the last few months, it's an amazing product. So could you just give us a little bit of a background and history?
Sure, my pleasure. Yeah, A-ROSA is actually not a new kid on the block here. Many people may think that because in Australia we're reasonably new. But A-ROSA was set up over 20 years ago and initially by P&O Princess. So there is a bit of an Australian connection. And the objective was back then to establish a river cruise brand catering for the European market. And Germany was chosen because, hey, we have some of the most beautiful rivers in Europe, and also because Germans love river cruising and know their rivers. So their expectations are, I would say, maybe a little bit higher than the expectations of someone who's never been to Europe or only like cruised on one river or so. So that's why P&O Princess chose Germany. And what makes us, I guess, unique, because you rightly so say, there's so much product out there and really wonderful product. But what makes us, I think, unique is that our itineraries are really different and they are designed to maximize time in port. So we don't do the 40 nights Amsterdam, Budapest. And again, very popular itineraries and they suit some guests really well. But you really rush through. It's the same like visiting Sydney and seeing the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. Yeah, there is so much more to it. And we call on a lot of the smaller, I would call them hidden gems, the smaller ports of call where other river cruise lines just don't have the time to stop. And I can assure you from own experience, these are the experiences money can't buy. Because I've been, for example, just recently on the Danube, and we stopped at Esztergom, where the other lines, they just passed that beautiful ancient city, and it's not a city, it's actually a town with so much history, and we had it to ourselves. So this is the fantastic experiences you only get on A-ROSA. And you
Well, I can say
a lot of European. Sorry.
I was going to say, Birgit, that I've done a lot of river cruises in the 20 years that I've been involved in river cruising, and I've never stopped there. So something to look forward to next time I'm up in Europe.
Here we go.
Now, does that mean you're talking about it being a German company and obviously set up for a lot of German tourists? Does that mean that if we're going up as Australians or New Zealanders, that it'll be just us and a whole bunch of Germans? Like, is everything in German?
No. Thank you for asking this question. No, all of our ships are what we call international, i.e. bilingual. And we welcome international guests on all of our ships. And in terms of the guest mix, it can be very different. I've been on one of our sailings where we had quite a few American guests. And I've been on other sailings where I heard languages, European languages I've never come across. And I've lived in Europe for a very long time. And I just said like, oh, where are these guests come from? They turned out to be Finnish. But that's what I mean. You only get that really on A-ROSA that, of course, there are Germans. It's a German product. And there are a lot of guests from neighboring countries, could be Scandinavians, could be guests from Eastern Europe or the Benelux countries. but yeah, could be guests from further afield, and it's exciting because it's always different.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's that's part of traveling, isn't it? Being able to mix with other people and get to know people from around the world.
Correct, yes.
Now, just obviously, with a lot of people know a lot about river cruising and the different rivers. I just wanted to put the map up there just so you can explain to us, the different rivers that we are traveling on. Are they the same as the other cruise lines, or are you restricted anywhere?
No, I mean, like the everybody kind of cruises on the same rivers, but as I alluded to before, we call it some destinations the other guys just can't because of their jam-packed itineraries. But yeah, you have on the left the Douro, where we offer the 7-night round trips from Porto. We cruise in France on the Seine, where we offer various itineraries from Paris, and on the round trips from Lyon. On the Rhine-Main-Moselle, that you for those people who watch this, they may see like, oh, like that's a bit more, it's busier than the maps maybe of some other river cruise lines. And that is, again, because we know the Rhine-Main-Moselle extremely well. And we've, I think, picked some or put some itineraries together that are different. And we offer a combination of one-way itineraries, round trips, and Cologne is here the key debarkation and embarkation port. And for those of you who may not know, Cologne is only an hour's drive from Frankfurt Airport, i.e. very easy to get to. And on the Danube, we cruise from Engelhartszell, for those listening who say, like, where is that? It's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it?
It is. Where is it?
Engelhartszell is in Austria, and it is just across the border from Passau. And Passau is very well known as a main port for river cruises. We build our own facilities at Engelhartszell, and that is because during peak season there are often a lot of delays out of Passau. There's a lot of congestion, and by having our own facilities further downstream, we avoid the queue, so we are basically ahead of the crowd. And we offer transfers from Passau, so there is, for the guests, is no disadvantage at all. But we also offer itineraries from Vienna, which is very popular for Australian guests because easy to fly in. And in terms of the itineraries, I just like to add that, again, that makes us unique, I guess, that we have some very short itineraries. They're only 4 nights. And these are perfect for guests from Australia and New Zealand who already have other travel plans in Europe, but have about a week to fill. And a 4, 5, or 7-night A-ROSA itinerary might be perfect for them to take on to a European holiday. But we also offer longer itineraries, like on the Danube alone, we have an itinerary that is 18 nights. Wow. And that is an Engelhartszell round trip, and it takes you all the way to the Danube Delta and back. And for those guests who may say, well, I like a one-way because otherwise I see the same destination twice. Not really, because what you see on one way during the daytime is what you pass the nighttime on the way back. So the itineraries are designed that there is no duplication, but you have basically a very intense and fantastic experience doing an 18 nights Danube round trip. You will know the river inside out afterwards.
That's fantastic, and that's I often get asked, which is better to do, upstream, downstream, and I was like, well, you just have to do both because they are so different, and you have such different experiences. So we're just going to move on a little bit now, and one of the things I love about A-ROSA is the A-ROSA Spa. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that, and also some of the other excellent amenities that you have on board?
Yes, of course. I'd be delighted to. All of our ships either have a pool or a whirlpool. And our new build A-ROSA Senna actually has 2 pools plus a whirlpool. So there's plenty of choice. And
I have to say, so I was just going to say that I've deliberately put the shot in there because this is one of my favorite places on the ship. Particularly if you're going up for the Christmas markets, coming back and it's nice, like cool or cold, and then hopping into the hot tub is just the best thing in the world. Anyway, sorry.
Yes, yes, no, no, most definitely. It's very popular. Yes, and we also have saunas on board of all of our ships, which you might want to do as well, or in combination. Ah, here we go. Yes, definitely the saunas are very popular, very large, and you can see here with very large windows. And the same applies to our gyms, actually. We don't tuck our gyms, somewhere in the dungeon of the ships. They are all have natural light, and on quite a few ships, large windows, like we see here for the sauna. And our gyms are also really well equipped. And I wouldn't call myself a gym junkie, but I like a good workout. And there's definitely more than a rowing machine and a treadmill. So for those people who like to exercise before or after their lavish dinner meal, yeah, they can do that on the ships for sure.
Well, in all the years that I've experienced river cruising, it never occurred to me that there would be enough space to have this size sauna, let alone a really big gym, like as you said, comparative to the size of the ship. This just takes it to a whole different level as far as wellness and pampering while you are on holidays. And for those that are doing those big tours around Europe and so on, as you said earlier, it's you've got those shorter cruises, so you can come on and just have that 4-night refresh in between different tours, or at the end of your trip before you come home, just to have that actual holiday time.
Yes,
after all the rushing around that you generally do while you're in Europe. One of the other things that I found was really fantastic about A-ROSA, it was really fantastic, is you're really the only river cruise company that I'm aware of that really caters so well to families. And this picture here really blows me away, because this would not, in my wildest dreams, would I have picked this to be on a river cruise.
Yes, and this shot is the G-grade family cabin on A-ROSA Senna, our new ship she launched in June last year. And these cabins, believe it or not, they are 28 square meters in size, so larger than some people's apartments, I guess. And if you have 2 adults with 3 kids up to and including 15 years of age, the kids travel for free. Can you believe it?
That's amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
A-ROSA policy is that kids up to 15 cruise for free on deck 1 on all of our ships, except the Douro, because the Douro ship is much smaller. And again, in this cabin, as I said, like up to 3 kids can travel for free, and it's fantastic value for money. And for those guests who like to travel with kids but may choose a cabin on deck 2 or 3, we also offer fantastic discount there of 30%. So definitely very child-friendly cruise line.
Also, one of the things that's quite unusual is that on some of the ships you have interconnecting cabins. So it really does make for a very safe family experience. Even if you haven't got everyone packed in the one room, you can be spread between rooms and still have that, which is so unusual.
Yes, correct. And sometimes I get asked these questions if our ships are full of children, and they are not. Because first of all, there is a maximum number of kids that we do allow on the ships. And also, it really depends on the time of the year. It's the same as any holiday. If you go during school holidays, you of course see more families with children. If you go during other times, you may not see any children on board. And that's the same applies to us. But what it does is it changes the dynamic on board in the average age, because river cruising is known a little bit as a holiday for more mature guests, mature by age, I mean. But on A-ROSA, you see maybe younger couples, and that is what I find also very refreshing.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I find really appealing, is that it does bring the demographic down considerably when you're looking at it, and the people don't have that older perception, which is really quite nice. Now, one of the things I also wanted to just have a chat about is that when we have a look at the A-ROSA pricing, it's actually very competitive pricing. So does that mean that the guests will have to pay extra for their alcohol, or like, are there any hidden charges in there?
No, not at all. Actually, our premium cruise fare includes free and unlimited beverages.
Even for Australians?
Even for Australians, yes. And these are alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. So you can have, like these guys are doing, have a bottle of bubbly during the day, sit on the sun deck, or you can have a refreshing ale when you come back from the shore excursion, or a digestive after dinner. It's all included. There are, of course, premium beverages that are not included, but in all honesty, I've never had anyone complain that there wasn't enough free liquor available. So yeah, definitely, it makes it a very nice holiday experience that you just don't need to think like, oh, if I have an alcoholic beverage now, it costs me €5–10. If I wait an hour, it might be included. It's you're on holidays. You want to relax, so we take care of everything.
Oh, that's fantastic. And are there any hidden costs that we should be aware of, or extra costs that we may incur?
What is not included is shore excursions, and I'd have to actually correct what I just said. One shore excursion is included in our itineraries of 7 nights and longer on every river, and that is where we pick like a special location where we know it's really stunning, and we take everybody off the ship and do this guided shore excursion, which is, as I said, including the cruise fare. And afterwards, we have a themed dinner on board. And all other shore excursions are optional. And that is fantastic because, again, guests have the choice. Here is the right image, yes. Guests have the choice and say, like, look, you know, like I'd like, and by the way, the e-bikes, we have e-bikes on our ships and they're free. So you can just rent them on the first come, first go basis. But guests can do exactly what these guys are doing, just grab a bike and explore the cities, townships by themselves. Or they can do a guided shore excursion. But I often hear guests who say, like, oh, I've been to Amsterdam before and I've done the canal cruise. I don't want to do this again. I want to do something by myself. Yeah, you don't feel bad because you don't have, it's not like on other river cruise products where you pay for it. And if you then don't participate, you feel like, oh, I should have because I paid for it. At A-ROSA, no. And that's also why there's a different price point.
And that's one of the things that really appeals to me. Obviously, over the years, I've been involved in river cruising. I've done a lot of river cruising. I've been on all the rivers. And going back, you know, second or third time, love the whole experience of river cruising. But going up and having those tours included is a bit offsetting because I know that I've paid for it, so we kind of drug along. But really, we just want to go and explore. And I think that's one of the things I love about A-ROSA is that if you have experienced the Rhine before, experienced the Danube before, or the Seine, you can go back and this time explore at your own leisure and be able to just go and explore your own way and have that guidance and comfort of the ship being there and have all those trimmings that we love about river cruising, but at the same time have all that freedom and flexibility that we like and love about FIT travel. So it's just this beautiful combination of both, which I think is just fantastic.
And again, the point I made earlier that we spend more time in port compared to other river cruise lines is you have the time to do both. Like, for example, I was in Antwerp a few years ago on A-ROSA for the first time in my life. And of course, you do a guided excursion because there's so much history and culture. And I really enjoyed listening to a well-qualified guide who could explain all of this. But on the next day, we explored the city on our own because we had by then we'd found our bearings. We knew how to get from the ship to the city. It was walking distance, and we'd seen these nice little chocolate shops as you do in Antwerp, and we could do it by ourselves on our own, and we didn't have any time pressure. We could do what we want and do as much as we want without, as you said, like having time pressure and being feeling guilty that we paid for something.
That's and that's one of the things I just love about that whole freedom and flexibility. You know, a lot of river cruise companies talk about freedom and flexibility, but this is the first time I've really understand what it means to be free and be able to go off and just do whatever you want to do without feeling that you're missing out on something that you prepaid. So yeah, it just gives us so many more options. I'm just going to flick over to our last slide here, because we've got the 2023 e-brochure out that's available on our website. So for those of you that are watching, you can go to uniquecruises.com.au. If you need any extra information, contact me. If you're not in the travel industry, then please contact your local travel professional. They'll be able to help you out and guide you through the entire program. If you are a travel professional and watching this, then get in touch, and Birgit and I will be able to help you out. It is such a magnificent thing to do, to go up to Europe and spend some time on the rivers. It doesn't matter how many times you go, how many river cruises that you do. When you get this opportunity to be able to free yourself up and be able to explore these towns and cities and some new towns along the way, it doesn't matter how many times you've done it before, it's just the best holiday. So if you're looking at doing a river cruise, then get in contact with us at Unique Cruises. We'll be able to help you out. Thank you so much, Birgit, for joining us and giving us that overview.
Thank you, Walter. It's been my pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.